You're listening to Bros Let's Talk.
Hey, it's Bros Let's Talk. Pat here with Jimmy, Sean, and Andy. Full squad. Dick Aspen producing.
Crew.
What's up, boys?
What up?
It's been a while. It's been a while.
Yes.
It's been a while.
Living the high life right now.
Yes, we got a lot of stuff we're going to talk about today.
A lot of stuff. It has been a week for us. It has been a week.
Huge
It's been
week.
a day.
Been a
It's
day.
been a day.
Been a year.
But think back,
been a month.
It's been a week for us.
Been a life.
For this squad here. This
Got
is
a
squad.
new coach for the Bulls. Bears somehow 3-0.
3-0.
LeBron's in the finals. We're not really going to talk about that too much, but it happened. What else we got here? NFL Week 3. Jimmy and I saw Tenet. Also got an anonymous review sent to us from the Bandit. So we'll play that a little bit later, and then we're going to end it with a mock draft. But before we jump into our topics, wanted to start off with a couple other things we're not going to have time to touch on. First and foremost, are you guys familiar with the game Among Us?
No.
Never played it.
Never heard of it.
Jimmy, quite surprising because Alex plays it a lot and always asks everyone to play it. So maybe pay a little bit more attention to your son.
Dad of the year over here.
It is a strategy game, board game-esque video game. Andy, how would you explain it?
I would best describe it as like a board game just played on a computer. And Sean, I know you've played this, but there's many a board game that are kind of like this where you're trying to figure out who the imposters are among your group. So Sean and I played this game called, I think it was called Killing Hitler.
Secret Hitler.
Same thing. So there's a couple people in the group that have like a rogue card and they're trying to dismantle the group. And then as you go through, the other people are trying to figure out who they are, and the people that are trying to dismantle have to succeed in doing so. So this is just a computer game version of that.
Yeah, everyone is our crewmates on a spaceship, and you can do up to parties of 10, and you can do, depending on your group size, between 1 and 2 imposters, and you walk around this cruise ship and you're assigned different tasks, very simple things that you're doing, and the imposter has to walk around and try and basically kill off the entire rest of the crew without being caught. And then once dead bodies are found, you can call meetings and everyone talks about who they think did it, and everyone kind of tries to, obviously people try to defend themselves if they get accused. And a lot of streamers have been playing it lately, and it's highly entertaining. So Andy and I, long-winded way of saying Andy and I are trying to get a group together to play Among Us. And obviously, the two of you guys, top of our list of recruits. We've already talked to Ben and Trent as well. So by my math, that's 6 people. And if we could find up to 4 more to play Among Us, Pat. We can I say, mental math game is strong to really strong.
Right? You can tell we handled currency in our day.
Jim, I got a real look of non-interest on your end. Can I get a soft commitment?
Yeah, I've been watching the football game the whole time you were talking. All I heard was a cruise ship and trying to kill some dudes.
It's like a board game.
Oh, I hate board games, but sure, I'll give a soft commitment until I find a better excuse of what I can't play.
I'm gonna accidentally assassinate Jimmy first.
Exactly.
You can watch the rest of the game.
Jimmy, you have a hidden advantage because Alex is pretty good at the game. From what he tells me, he could just be gassing himself up. But
wait, so we're all playing against each other?
So we don't know. You
really were not paying attention.
Yeah. Your group gets put in, and randomly 1 to 2 people, depending on what you select as the options, get selected as an imposter.
Okay.
And then the imposters have to go around and try and kill everybody unassumingly, while the rest of the crew that are just the crewmates just go and try and complete their tasks. And their goal is to try and complete all their tasks before the imposters can kill everyone or figure out who the imposters are and eject them from the plane. So basically, when these group meetings get called, you can vote on if you want to kick someone off the plane. So if you think that you figured out who the imposter is and you make a good argument and everyone believes you, they can all vote to have that person booted off. And then if they are the imposter, it'll tell you that you booted the imposter. But if it's not, it'll just say so-and-so got kicked off or whatever.
So someone could die who wasn't the imposter?
Yes.
Right.
So like a lot of
The
times in
imposter
these,
is good.
yeah, if in these streams, these people will get accused and then they'll try and
Get off my plane.
They'll turn it
Exactly.
around. Yeah, they'll turn it around on them and ask them what they were doing. And it's kind of like, if you're a good liar, you can be good at this game as well.
I'll play this game all day long.
Good fun
All
could
right,
be had.
I think it'd be a lot of fun.
I will give a soft commitment, but if anything, and I mean anything, even remotely better comes up, I'm in. But I will give a soft commitment to showing up.
Jim,
That's the thing. All you
can I
can do
ask-
is sit on your ass at your house.
Can I ask what your commitment level is to content
Content, you mean like for the pod?
for the podcast?
I think my commitments level is pretty high. But when
So-
you bring in
Hashtag
board
content
games,
with content.
when you bring in board games, my commitment level gets a little weary.
So here's the thing, though. It's not a
What if we
board
called
game.
it a virtual
It's
base?
a video game. And the best option for you would be to, for the small purchase price of $5.35 after tax, purchase
so now
the
I have to
game.
spend money. This is insane.
Purchase the game on Steam on Alex's computer, because I know he's got Steam. I already did so. Andy already did so on his laptop. Then we can play, and as I'm saying this now, this is such a bad argument point, but I have to throw it out there anyway. to communicate while we're playing Among Us.
Oh no.
We're gonna use Discord, which is
It's back.
the preferred communication technology of most games as far as being able to
You can do Zoom, just no video.
we could do Zoom, no video.
So what is this shit show taking place?
Well,
Team-
we're just throwing out feelers.
All right. Soft commitment. That's
How
the
soft?
best. That's the best I'm gonna do. Pretty fucking flaccid, but
Wow.
it's still there. My penis is not hard, but at least I have one. So you're working with something there.
That's fair.
You pop some Viagra and get into
Just
it. son.
mashing it.
I'm gonna order an IV
Blue
of
and chew.
Viagra. Just straight
Blue
straight to the bloodstream.
Dude,
Oh
His
man.
penis just literally turns into an arm.
Right. Then we vote you off the island or plane.
We do.
And then I have to go to the hospital because I have an erection lasting for longer than 4 hours.
You're fine.
It's
Nothing
fine.
wrong with
This
that.
is fine.
It'll be
Everything's fine.
It'll be fun. All right, so we're gonna do this. Andy and I are gonna make sure that this happens.
Definitely.
All right, we have some actual stuff we wanted to talk about, so let's jump in. We'll start with the Bears, I guess. Just the
Even Andy was on board. We got a let's go from Andy during the Bears game today. That's how exciting this fucking game
hold
was.
on. We got to let's go for a substitution. It wasn't
Oh, right.
It wasn't like Andy's actually rooting for the Bears. He just
I was all in on the Foles.
Yes, you were.
and
we all were.
substitution.
Yes, you were.
So yeah,
Trubisky almost cost me my life today.
and your Bears fandom.
I had the gun in my
was
mouth.
He was reading Don't Jump books.
All
Trying
very
to talk
true.
himself off a ledge.
Dude, I was about to put my fandom out there for
Dude,
all
you
31
were.
other teams
You
for
certainly
bidding.
were.
I was right there.
Well, not Tampa Bay because they are the
They have
house for
Tom.
Tom Brady. So
Yeah, Tampa Bay can
30
go
other
fuck
teams.
themselves. But
Tampa
New England
Bay.
is way up there on my list
But
now. all
man,
of a sudden.
Sean, you were like, "Ooh, that was a fucking god." That
It was
the
a disaster.
cardiac Bears.
Bears win
Jesus.
30-26 in a game. They had some business winning, but not really
Some
the way
business.
that it was playing out.
Very, very little business.
Well,
Very
very,
little.
little business, but okay.
The same could be
Here-
said
here-
for the Tuesday Wet Bandits.
Here's what I was.
Sticky Bandits,
I was
sorry.
going to text this during the game, and I decided not to because I
So
wanted to
sticky.
see how it played out. But they were playing like absolute dog shit, and
Yeah.
they were fucking bad, and I wasn't
Bad.
trying to avoid that. But at the same point, there was 2 really bad roughing the passer calls that got called on the Bears that led to 2 touchdowns for the Falcons, and then they had the play with Allen Robinson, which was probably the right call, but being what the call on the field was, maybe. But the call on the field getting overturned was surprising.
That's what I was more surprised about, is that they overturned it than.
And then Anthony Miller just dropping a touchdown. So that is a 28-point swing right there from just the Bears' bad luck on one play, just Anthony Miller sucking, and then the refs the refs were bad in this game, but it's not why the Bears would have lost this game if they lost. It just would have been
Right.
The shit on top of the shit sandwich.
For that Allen Robinson call, I'm saying he had initial possession of the ball. He goes down, leg hits, shoulder hits, plays dead, touchdown.
Exactly. And they
That's the
called it
call.
a touchdown on the field. Had you
That
called it
too.
an interception in the
But-
end zone, fine. I get it. But they called a touchdown on the field.
There's no way that Denard Robin or whoever, Darqueze Denard, right? There's
Yeah.
I
no
have
way
no
he
idea.
had possession of that ball when Anthony Miller's shoulder
No.
hit the ground. There's no way. And to allow them to tussle in the end zone
Allen
when
Robinson's
all you got to
shoulder.
do is break the goal line is ridiculous. That was a terrible call.
Well,
Really,
when
interesting because like 6 or 7 years ago, I saw on a Facebook memory just 2 days ago was the Fail Mary
Yeah, Packers and
Seahawks.
Seattle, yeah.
with the replacement refs.
Basically, it was the same play, right?
Yeah, it was the exact same.
And Golden Taint pushed off.
Yeah. So wait, and what was the ruling on that one? The Packers lost, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Packers lost.
It's touchdown.
So the rule's different when you're catching the ball in terms of breaking the play. Like if you're already an active runner, the tip of the ball has to hit the tip of the goal line. It's a touchdown. It's different when it's in the like a pass. So you still have to make the completion of the catch. But possession or simultaneous possession always goes to the offense. And like
I'm
you
not even
said,
sure it was simultaneous by the time his shoulder
Well,
hit the ground. That's what I'm
exactly
saying.
right. I completely agree with you. So I think if you call it a touchdown on the field, I don't know how the hell you overturn that. I really don't.
Can I throw out a maybe not unpopular opinion, but kind of unpopular? I know Allen Robinson deserves to get paid, and I think the Bears should pay him. But this is the second week in a row now where a play was left up to the replays. Very
And he
similar
missed a
play.
50-50 ball. Yes.
He's got to pull those in if he wants to get paid.
He's not top tier, but
Right.
he deserves to be paid.
But
Yes.
he's their number one option. And
He's
nothing
their top tier.
They'd be nothing without him. But he has to just make those
Yes.
no doubters rather than.
But he
leave it up.
also made a pretty good 35-yard touchdown to bring them.
Oh no, that's what I'm
Agreed.
saying.
The
I'm
game.
not going to give
Yeah.
him any shit. But
He also had a couple other drops as well.
I
that
think he's
should
a
have been
top
caught by
3 to
a guy
5
getting
receiver of the tier 2 receivers. Personally.
what?
Oh, so
what number?
What number?
So he's a top 10 to 12 receiver in the NFL.
I was going to say he's like number 11 or 12. That's
Yeah,
where I would
he's
probably
top-
rate him.
I mean,
So
when you
he-
think off the top of your head, you have Nuke, Michael Thomas, Devontae. Who else am I missing? Julio. And then
Hopkins.
I mean, you'd put yeah.
You
That
said
was
Nuke.
Nuke. Sorry, who's number one? You'd put Tyreek
Tyreek Hill.
above him. Who else? Keenan Allen. They're right on the same.
Probably Calvin Ridley.
Probably Calvin Ridley.
Now.
Yeah. So he's top 10 to 12 receiver.
I'd say he's right around 10.
Yeah.
It's fair.
So-
He's regardless of the rest of the league in terms of talent, he's our best offensive player.
Right,
He's our
which is
number
why
one
he
weapon.
deserves to be
100%.
paid.
Right.
He's
And
gotta
you know
pay.
what? To be fair,
Yes.
for the most part, he's made about 80% of those plays with his time as a Bear.
Yep.
That's pretty much the only ones I can remember since he's been here where it's kind of gotten taken away like that. He's pretty sure-handed. He's not really a go-up-and-get-it guy, though, so
No.
can't really blame him. You'd rather have
Just
Jimmy Graham in
Good,
that
solid possession, like route runner.
He's a number one receiver in the
Yes.
sense that he does everything right, rather than he's not like big and dominant like Julio
Right.
or like.
So Pat, you're probably not going to like this one either. But the most talented receiver in that Bears bunch is Anthony Miller. His consistency is not there
No.
in
Yeah,
terms
he's
of
probably got
talent.
the lowest ceiling and the highest floor out of that group.
Yes. So if
Or
he can start putting, I
opposite,
mean,
sorry.
Other way.
right.
that First of all, I don't know how the hell he got open on that touchdown. The one he actually
It's a
caught.
great route. That's how he
But-
got open.
Because they were on their fourth string cornerback.
And
That's
Falcons,
that's true,
Falcons
too.
defense is terrible. But Anthony
Decimated by
Miller
injury.
has all the physical tools. I just don't know if he has the mental tools to pull it all together. And he's like you said.
Foles can make everyone on our offense better,
Well,
as he just did in that quarter.
Exactly.
Y'all, listen to this. Breaking news. The Falcons are the first team in NFL history to lose twice in one season while holding 15-plus point lead in the fourth quarter. They've done it in back-to-back weeks. They've done it in back-to-back weeks.
It's bad.
Dan Quinn is getting fired today. He is one. I don't know how I don't know how that guy started coaching this season, to be honest with you. And now
So
he
They should have
made
known they
NFL
were in
history for
trouble.
the wrong way.
They should have known they were in trouble when they hired someone with the last name Quinn.
Yeah. That's a great point. That is
All
a
right.
great point.
fuck Dan Quinn. Andy, you made a statement to me when we were talking, and I'll let you throw it out here about the state of the Bears. And I kind of agree with you that they are maybe the worst 3-0 team of all time.
It's close for sure.
Man,
I mean, the fact that the 3 games that they have won, in the way that they have won them, certainly puts them into that category.
And I don't give a fuck because they're 3-0.
Problem is that's
I mean,
definitely.
no problem with that.
definitely.
You have to win those games
Right.
if you're gonna have a successful season. Like
You,
those
you
50
have to win
51s.
those games, and you
Right.
have to have that mentality because Foles is in now. So you just have to be like, whatever.
Sure.
That was when Trubisky was in. We're
what
good.
I say last
We're
year.
a good team.
For the Packers, what I say. So they're the worst 13-win team in history, but they were one game
I
away from the
agreed with
Super
that.
Bowl. They were right there to go to
No.
the Super Bowl, so it doesn't
the
really
worst
matter.
13-win team in NFL history was the 2001 Bears that won back-to-back
Jim
games
Miller?
off of deflections,
Jim
and they
Miller,
got curb
A-Train.
stomp when they played the Eagles. That was the worst 13-win
Yeah, but that
team in
defense
NFL
was
history.
good though.
The defense was
back then.
amazing.
That defense was really good, but they had an anemic offense that if the defense even gave up 17 points, you were going to lose.
Agreed. But so back to Pat's point, the fact that you are 3-0 at this point,
Yeah.
you now have made that switch to a objectively better
Comparable quarterback?
Yes, that gives you a great sense heading into arguably your tougher part of the season. Because, I mean, you looked at this schedule at the beginning part of the year.
Something happened.
Sorry, go ahead.
Continue, Andy. Continue. Jimmy.
DK Metcalf just cost us like 20 points, but sorry, go ahead.
Okay.
You have this happen. I don't even know where I was going with this now. God damn it, Jimmy.
Foles is in. You're 3-0.
God damn it, Jimmy.
So
Going into the hardest part of our
you look
season.
at the schedule before the start of the year, and you're saying, okay, these are 3 winnable games to start your year. And even though you win them in that fashion, you don't feel great about your team. But now you get an upgrade at quarterback. Now you're heading into the tougher part of the schedule where you're probably looking at that and not thinking you're going to win every one of those games.
Right.
I think overall it's just a positive outlook for the team.
Agreed.
The fact that you're heading in there 3-0.
We have a little wiggle room.
From a player's mindset, you don't go in there and be like, holy shit, we really scraped by on those 3 wins.
Exactly, right.
You're going in, you're 3-0.
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
you're,
And
you're
I
there next
talked
week, and
about
they
this.
talked about that in the game. I think it was, what's his face? Vilma
Yeah.
was talking about the fact that you don't really, and he was talking about the Falcons about last week with Dallas. You don't dwell on last week as much as
Anything can happen.
reporters try
Right.
to really hammer that home. Like, oh my God, how do you bounce back after a week like that? Like, these guys are professionals and they deal with that shit week in and week out. Like, there's tough losses, there's awesome
Right.
wins. You can't be hung up on a huge win either. Like, the Packers put up 40 points back-to-back weeks and beat 2.
Well, yeah,
decent
because
teams.
anything
You
can
can't just
happen.
expect to go
in
in
the
and score
NFL.
40 points a week. Like, it goes both ways. It goes week to week, and you need to go on now thinking that you have a comparable or
Right. Which you do. You have a
Quarterback.
comparable quarterback.
Right.
Which is also why we're not
Competent
professional
quarterback.
athletes, because we're still talking about talking about our softball win from last Tuesday and how great it was because we
As we
certainly
should.
haven't let it go as we should. You're
Well,
right,
you have
Sean.
to build on
Competent,
momentum.
not
It's different.
comparable.
It's different when you win games because you can build off momentum and you know.
Right. It's a good feeling, but you're not going into the next game where you're like, holy shit, let's keep doing what we were doing last weekend. Like,
Well, another thing is this is the
It's
Bears.
just a positive mentality going into the
This
next
is
week.
the
rather-
Bears under the Matt Nagy era. And the Matt Nagy era is we don't blow out teams and we don't get blown out. Games are always, always tight. That's how
Right.
it always has been. So when we're winning, scraping by games, that's pretty much our MO. So
Right.
they're in that locker room jacked up. You know, they're happy. They got the W, comeback victory. Nick Foles is finally at the helm, which I'm sure no one's going to come out and say it, but I'll bet you a lot of players are very happy about that. Cough, cough, Allen Robinson.
Oh, for sure.
So,
they are. For sure.
You know,
they are.
there's many things to take away from this game aside from a comeback win. But the biggest one is finally we have a competent quarterback who can get the goddamn job done. I mean, he came in halfway through a game, no warm-ups, probably not expecting to play. Now with a week
Yep.
of actual experience and practice and expecting to be the starter with, you know, the ability to do what he just did, I mean, it's going to be better than Trubisky. The outlook is positive, much more positive now than it was for me in the beginning.
I text you guys that even though he didn't look great, you can tell that Foles is a competent quarterback in the NFL. Right? He's accurate. He makes the correct reads. He puts his guys in the correct position to block the defenders. Makes good. I mean, that touchdown to Miller was him coming off of his back foot, and he threw a fucking dart.
Yep.
Mitch throws off his back foot when there's nobody around him. I mean, and again, he's not some kind of savior. We don't need him to be a savior. He just looks like a competent NFL quarterback.
Trubisky just sucks.
Well, me and Andy were talking before we started recording, and yeah, that touchdown to Miller, Mitch just could never make that throw. Stepping up, getting hit.
Exactly.
And still right on the money. It's just that's a professional throw right there. And Foles isn't flashy. He's not going to win. He's not going to win any, well, according to Madden maybe, but he's not going to win any regular season MVPs or anything like that.
Hey,
he had one great year, but he can
one great
get the
year and a
job
Super
done.
Bowl run that was equally as great. Outdueled Tom Brady. I mean, he's got a resume.
You're right. He absolutely does.
He's done things in this league that Trubisky will never be able to accomplish. Because
I just think the biggest thing between Mitch and Foles right now is that I still kind of stand by this with the defense that you guys had. What was that 2 years ago with Parkey?
2 years ago, yes.
I thought that Mitch was good enough to manage to a Super Bowl. And
yeah, I agree.
Kind of the way that Joe Flacco did with Baltimore. And he had a great postseason.
I agree with you.
Don't get me wrong. But the way that, and we talked about it in our text thread, the way that he throws the deep ball, he's never going to win you a game. Like, go out there and throw darts and do a game-winning drive. And granted, he put together some good drives the last 2 weeks. But I feel like at least with Foles being at least semi-accurate down the field, he gives you a chance to put together drives like that and big play ability and things like that. I feel like he has the ability to go out and you don't feel like you're like down and out if you have to go down the field 70 yards and score a touchdown or kick a field goal.
Foles has actually a pretty decent deep ball, and he's able to recognize the difference between zone and man. I mean, if you play zone against Mitch, you're going to beat him. He still can't figure out how to beat the zone, which
Mitch
is why we
sucks.
still don't understand why Matt Patricia played man the last couple series in week 1 against Detroit and enabled the Bears to beat them.
Trubisky sucks. The version of the 2018 Trubisky is not the version that we have now. He's regressed aggressively. Like he has become worse and worse since 2018.
I think that's a mental thing more
I think so too.
Yeah.
I think so too.
He's
Well,
a mental
Andy,
midget.
you mentioned it during the game that he's done now. You saw he had the deer in the headlights look. He was just standing there in a daze, and it's over. He's not He's not getting the job back. They're going with Foles after what
Yes.
happened. And
Yes.
barring injury, which is possible because Foles has a track
He gets
record
hurt
of
every
getting
year.
injured. You might have to go back to him, but now I'm worried that if we go back to him, it might be worse than ever because you saw Khalil Mack gassing him up after the game, though. So that's try and keep his confidence high. That's
Fuller was it. Fuller was in there too. They showed that clip of him.
Now Trubisky, if he wants to stick around the NFL, this is his opportunity to show that he can step up, be a good backup, and if called upon, step up and be a decent player because that is probably the reality of his future.
And you know, it sucks for him.
The man was down.
Trash.
Well, no, that's what I was going to
Trash
say.
Binsky.
I'm
It
telling you,
sucks
man,
for
I'm
him
coining it. I hate that guy.
because he was overdrafted. He never should have been put in the position to play at all this year because he didn't deserve to. Foles should have been the starter from day one, and they've continued to obviously put him out there because you picked the guy so high, and he just wasn't able to live up to his draft status, which sucks, obviously, for us because now we're set back again until we find a quarterback. But he genuinely seems like a good guy on all other accounts, so you root for him, but I don't want a good guy who can't play quarterback. I want Jay Cutler, who's an asshole to the world, that has a fucking rocket for an arm.
It sucks at quarterback.
My quarterback.
Listen, we should have gone with my method of handling Trubisky after last year. It's called the treasure hunt method. He signs his contract, and only will you pay him when he finds it. You bury it. You give him a treasure map, provide him an old wooden ship and a crew, and if he finds the contract before it ends, he gets the money. It's win-win. He finds his $25 million. We don't have to deal with him for 2 years. That's what I wanted, but the Bears never listen to the fans.
Just
I'm not sure where to go with that, but
I think if you're
it's worth a try, I guess,
if you
right?
want to put it somewhere where he's not going to find it, don't you just bury it downfield because
Buried in the end zone.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, man.
I'll
You
never
guys
find
are
it there.
brutal. Just kill this man when he's down. He just lost his starting job. He may be done in the NFL forever.
He set it up.
But he also made like 25 mil, so I don't feel that bad for him.
He's fine.
He's
Yeah.
He's
All right.
He can.
good-looking
Let's move on.
kid. He'll be fine.
Bears are 3-0. It's all that matters. Let's move on. We'll see. Packers are playing the
Oh,
Saints
by the way,
tonight.
Vikings are done. Vikings are 0-3. Detroit will probably lose. They're done. So it's a two-team race, week 3.
Andy, how you feeling about the Packers' chances tonight? This is recorded at Sunday at 4:20.
I'm guaranteeing a victory.
You're not Andy.
The Packers.
I said Andy. I said Andy on Dave.
We all know my love for Aaron Rodgers here.
I know that the Saints are a very good team. Drew Brees has looked aged the last 2 weeks. The one deciding factor that I do think gives the Packers the advantage, I think this is going to be more of an Aaron Rodgers show than it is an Aaron Jones show, because the Saints are very good against the run. But the Packers have shown that they've been all right without Devontae Adams. The Saints looked very, very bad without Michael Thomas. And both those guys are looking to be out tonight. I do think it's going to be relatively low scoring. I mean, considering the two prolific offenses. But I think the Packers edge it out in a pretty close game. But I am excited about the game just overall.
In Lambeau?
No, it's in New Orleans.
In New Orleans. To a what?
Packers schedule is
dome, I'm assuming.
So brutal.
Yeah.
I mean, it was before the schedule, or like when the schedule came out. It's not so bad now that there's no fans in San Francisco.
Right, that helps. Yes, garbage
up,
falling apart.
Brutality, and Drew Brees' arm looked like it's gonna fall off. But
Dude.
Yeah, I think it edges to the Packers, but I know how good the Saints just overall are. So I
Still got Kamara.
So
Yeah,
do you
that's
think,
Kamara.
I guess, better question, do you think it'll be more of a kind of down-to-earth type of game? They've been blowing out the opponents the last 2 weeks. Do you think it'll be more of like –
Yeah, I mean, I don't think they're going to drop 40 on the Saints.
So you think – but you think they'll still –
I still think they win. I don't think it'll be as handily.
Okay.
And I mean, going up against a good team like the Saints, you don't expect to blow them up by
Torn ACL for Tariq Cohen.
That
Yeah.
sucks.
That
Yeah.
sucks.
He just got paid at least.
Yeah, the man got paid.
I think it's going to be the Aaron Rodgers show through Aaron Jones. Aaron Jones is going to be your number one receiver on the day, guaranteed.
Yeah, I mean, that could very well be the case. I just don't think he's going to run the ball for a lot.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, the Bulls.
I'm really looking forward to Monday night, though.
Oh
Yeah,
that's
that's
Chiefs
awesome.
Ravens. That's gonna be great.
The battle of the new age quarterbacks.
Yeah,
Yes,
exactly.
sir.
Be so sweet.
The Bulls have a new coach,
Bolts.
and
Woo!
it was one that became available pretty recently and was a pleasant surprise when it was announced. And just hearing the way that it came together, I think actually hearing the way that it came together, knowing that he had other options but chose to come here. Billy Donovan, who most recently coached the Thunder and parted ways with them after, what was it, 5 years?
5 years, yes.
And then obviously a lot of spent, was the coach of the Florida Gators for almost 20 years before
Yeah,
that.
long
Won a
time.
couple national titles and had a good run in OKC, made the playoffs every year, made it only out of the first round once. So, and had pretty good talent. But last year, I think was probably his best coaching job after the Russell Westbrook trade. They had Chris Paul, who was a, top 25 NBA player of all time, probably, but really not a whole lot else, and made the most out of a young roster. So hoping he can do the same. And I guess I know you guys probably feel the same way, but you got to just feel really good about the direction that this franchise is headed with the moves that have been made in the last 6 months, starting with getting rid of Garpax and then bringing in, I want to make sure I say this right, Karnisovas, right?
Arturis Karnishovas.
Karnisovas.
Karnish.
And then
We'll just call him AK.
AK. Bringing in
Yep.
AK. Hiring Mark Eversley, firing Jim Boylan, now hiring Billy Donovan. We talked about
All
this
great things.
extensively.
Great things.
And I'm only going to say this. This is the last time I'll bring this up, but I publicly berated the Bulls organization and disowned them and said I wouldn't watch any more Bulls until sweeping changes were made. Sweeping changes have been made. I'm fully back on
Have been
board.
made, folks.
I'm fully
Back on board.
on board. I'm happy to be back on board. I love the Bulls, and I
We're
am
glad to have you.
excited about this hire because I think that Billy Donovan can make the most out of the talent that we have. But I also, you look at a team like the Nuggets where AK came from, and you get excited about the future knowing we've got the 4th pick, and I'm just excited. The Bulls have a bright future, it feels like, for the first time in a long time.
I
But
think
Billy-
that they should go out and throw whatever money AD wants at him, and you bring him home. Let's hope the Lakers win so you can bring AD home, and then you bring in Joakim Noah, that veteran leader, and you don't fuck up the 4th pick in the draft, and then you go and kill it.
That's obviously like what they
Duh.
want to do, but
Right.
That's what
Make it
every team
happen.
wants to do is
You're
to
right.
get AD.
Make it happen.
He ain't
What I'm
leaving.
saying.
Do you think
No one can pay him as much as
think
LA.
him winning a title has a better chance of bringing him home than him losing a title this year?
I think so.
Lakers
I
are
think-
not
Think he
losing.
just won
I
and
don't
done?
care what team makes it. The Lakers are not losing.
I think
Flip it.
What?
I think it's
Flip it.
there's no chance that he leaves LA, win, lose, or draw.
I don't think so.
You don't think he leaves LA, win, lose, or draw?
No way.
I don't know. I think if he wins, I think he's more likely to leave.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's why I hope they win. He gets his ring. Then
I think if he
gets paid.
loses, then LeBron convinces him that they have a chance to go back and do it again. Like they
unfinished business?
Right.
It's not like Kawhi with Toronto. Like when Toronto won, Kawhi thought, okay, when I leave, this thing is gonna crumble. But it's not
It
like
didn't.
that. AD
Right.
is in a spot where he doesn't have to be the guy, but yet most times he is, but he doesn't have to ever be the leader or the face of the organization. He can win championships for the next 3 years, possibly in a row. I mean, if I was him, maybe he does a 2-year deal. He does something like Durant did with Golden State or something like that. But I definitely do not think he is leaving after this year. This is his first taste of real playoff glory, and he is getting his fill. He's not going to
Good
leave
point.
LA to go back to
Yeah, I
New
mean,
Orleans.
maybe
type
you're right.
situation.
He also hasn't gotten a taste of like LA Staples Center life either.
That's true.
That's true.
That's extremely true. And he wants it.
So that's why the Bulls should go get him.
Well, because I'm curious too, because next year Golden State's going to be back, and then they had the number 2 pick. So
I forgot about that.
And they're all talking about signing Giannis.
Right. So Golden State all of a sudden could be really tough, tough out in the West next year, and a really tough opponent for the Lakers. And the Clippers are going to keep making moves. It's going to keep getting tougher. It wouldn't be crazy to assume that maybe Anthony Davis would come home, but it just doesn't really seem like he's outwardly had that desire to come back and play. I've never seen anything about him saying he wanted to come back and play for the Bulls. I just feel like if that was a desire of his, we would know more about it. And I'm curious to where this leaves the Bulls, because what we had heard for the last 2 or 3 years was this was not a popular free agent destination because there was it was just such a shitty front office that they had no control over anything.
Right.
People didn't want to come play here because they didn't treat their players right. And now it's a fresh face. You bring in a coach that players like to play for. Chris Paul, you hear, he's not an easy guy to play with from what other teammates talk about him, but he's
a real pain in the ass.
Seemed like he loved playing for Billy Donovan. And imagine Zach LaVine now going to work every day, not having to answer to Jim Boylan, but to someone
to use his punch card,
who knows, what he's talking about. Just listening to about 3 minutes of Billy Donovan's press conference, you knew that you're in better hands than what they had.
Just the fact that they came out and were very open about being one cohesive unit, from the top down.
Partners, they said.
It felt intentional.
Yes.
Right. Exactly. It didn't feel like it was just a puff of smoke that they were throwing out to the public. Like it actually felt real that they are going to try and work together in getting the players that Donovan wants, and the front office, they're going to do what they think is best for the organization. It's not going to be like, okay, Donovan wants this guy, we're going to go get him. It's going to be a conversation between the two of them. Like, okay, like maybe Donovan wants this guy, but maybe this isn't the best thing for the team overall. It's going to be a cohesive unit going forward. At least that's what it sounds like so far.
Pat and I were talking about this a few weeks ago. It was an actual rule under Jim Boylan that but for the most part, no mid-range jumpers. And when you that is a skill to be able to have a solid mid-range jumper. And you're saying no. They had Lauri Markkanen standing at the three-point line all the time. Dude is 6'11".
Billy Donovan addressed that too.
Let him rebound. Let him shoot his threes. We held that team back. We have talent on this team. Wendell Carter, when he's healthy, is going to be a stud maybe not a stud at 5, but he's going to be a damn good center. We have talent on this team. And if we can get in a coach who understands what the modern NBA is about and how to coach his players, we're going to be a playoff team. Maybe not like a 2 seed, but like a 6, 7, 8 seed. We're going to improve immensely this year. Just right off the bat, we're going to improve immensely.
Happy with the fact, when you look at the Jazz, they made 0 splashes in free agency in terms of big name signings. Of course, they filled out a roster. But AK knows what he's doing. He knows how to home grow it. We have the 4th pick. Potentially we'll be bad for at least the short term. We might be better, but we could be bad. But I take solace in the fact that we can head in the right direction under the leadership we have now. We don't have to worry about free agents. We don't have to worry about anybody else. We just have to worry about AK doing what AK does. Billy Donovan was a huge surprise signing to me. I didn't think of him at all as a Bulls head coach.
Same.
Nobody did.
I mean, exactly. It's just so, he's making all the right moves. I'm just excited to see what they're going to do with the draft and who they're probably going to get rid of from our current roster.
And I kind of
When does the turnover begin?
circle back to just the way that it came together and hearing that Billy Donovan had other offers. The Sixers were making a move for him.
Mhm.
One other team, I can't remember who, and it was talking to AK and hearing that the vision that he had for this team,
Yeah.
because the reports coming out of Oklahoma City was that Billy Donovan didn't resign because he didn't want to be a part of another rebuild with them.
Right. So he must think that the Bulls are closer to competing than we even think they
makes you think that he doesn't think the Bulls are a rebuild and there's enough talent here to win. And
Right.
you look at it, the 2021 free agency market it's one of those ones where it has the potential to be stacked. And even if you can't get, like, Giannis would be the big name out there, and Kawhi and LeBron, Anthony.
Dude, we're going to end up with a fucking boozer again.
All these guys could be out there, but you do have, and that's the thing, we might not get one of those guys, but there are guys like Rudy Gobert and Victor Oladipo, like, second-tier guys.
I would take Victor Oladipo on the Bulls.
Could get
right
Oladipo.
now.
Bradley
I would
Beal,
take him.
like,
I would
these
fucking
second-tier
take Bradley
guys
Beal
that-
right now.
If you could get Bradley Beal and Rudy
Dude
Gobert,
averaged 30
or-
and 6 and wasn't an all-star.
all of a sudden that team again, Andy, to your point, that team has all the makings to be like a 2-3 seed in the East, and then just never. But who knows? We have this
Exactly.
number-
Who knows?
Who knows? Look at the
Who
way
knows
some
is
guys-
right.
Giannis
It's a good
was
start.
Exactly.
It's a great start.
Like-
Yes.
Hearing that Billy Donovan was sold on the vision for the Chicago Bulls. The Chicago Bulls sold somebody on their franchise vision to
Right.
come coach their basketball team. A pretty high-profile name.
You know
That is something-
Paxson wasn't in that meeting.
If you would have told me
No,
that
he certainly
9
was
months
not.
ago, I would have laughed in your face and said that was an impossibility because the Bulls are the worst organization in Chicago.
Yep.
Not anymore. It's a great feeling.
Pat, I told you this last week as with the Bears, and I'll compare this to the Bulls. I'm going to celebrate every win because I don't know how many we're going to get this year. I'm happy football's back, especially with what's going on in the world today. I'm going to celebrate every win. I don't care how ugly it was or who we're playing. We were pissed off at the Bulls a few months ago. They're making sweeping changes. I am now not going to still be pissed off at them that their team isn't that good and they fucked up for all those years. They're heading in the right direction. I'm back on the bandwagon. I'm damn near driving it.
I'm back on. I'm all on board. I'm excited.
Yeah,
Toot
man.
toot, motherfuckers.
Speaking of good franchises in Chicago, today is the last day of the baseball season. The Cubs and Sox are playing each other. Cubs are probably going to win the game today.
They're up 10-1 now.
10-1. Season series split. Cubs win the NL Central yesterday. Sox are going to end up second or third in the AL Central, to be determined who they're playing. Both teams in the playoffs. Playoffs start Tuesday.
Tuesday?
Sox kind of limp into the playoffs. Cubs kind of re-energized going into the playoffs after playing the Sox. How are we feeling about our teams going in?
Limping is
mean-
a strong word
Yeah.
for the Sox.
Honestly,
Yeah.
They're crawling.
we
It's
have
tough.
They're not
we,
really
have,
moving.
we have Darvish and Hendricks going 1-2, so I feel pretty comfortable about that. I'm still a little nervous about our hitting. Yes, we've scored, 20 runs over the weekend against the Sox, but when you get shut out or you score one combined run against Pittsburgh in back-to-back days, it's a little cause for concern. Shawnee, your boy KB looks healthy, man. Grand slam yesterday, had that solo bomb today. He's been looking pretty good.
Yeah, it took him 58 games.
I think you guys should feel good about the 3-game series. I think
I do,
once you get into
yes.
the 5 and 7s, that
Right, that's
is a little bit troubling once you
Yes.
get past.
I
you-
would also rather face Philadelphia, which I don't know if that's still a possibility because half their team is hurt, and in order to get in, they had to pitch their 1 and 2 yesterday and today. So I would like that matchup a little bit more than going against the Reds. 'Cause
Reds,
they have
the Reds are scary in the playoffs.
Sonny
Man.
Gray,
You never know.
Bauer. Right,
Bauer.
exactly. You never know. So I'm just glad we're there again. We got bounced early 2 years ago, didn't make it last year.
As
We'll get at least 2 more Cubs games, so I'm happy about that.
as a Cubs fan, I feel the same way about them winning the NL Central as I do about the Bears being 3-0. I feel like
So you're related.
huh?
I said you're elated, huh?
Yeah. This is the first year in my life I've been this pessimistic, but It's not just because I'm being negative. It's because they don't pass the eye test. They just don't. And that's when you look at them on the field and when you look at them on the stat sheet, offensively, of course. Although I also kind of think that our pitching is – I don't think our pitching is actually this good. They did it the whole season, which is –
Darvish's.
You Darvish's, for sure. But I don't know. I think maybe in the first round we'll be okay if our pitching is good, but our hitting is way too streaky
Agreed.
to be to do any
but it's
real
hot right
damage.
now.
It is
They're
hot
right now. I mean, didn't we just lose to this when we lost to the Sox? What did we do? We put up 1 run.
No, we put up 5. We lost 9-5.
We end up losing 9-5. So, all right, I guess we're hot right now. We'll see. We're peaking at the right time, and a lot of times in baseball, that's what it takes. But I don't know if they can. I don't know if they can keep the offense going.
And
we'll have to see. But
what was it, yesterday or 2 days ago? We called up what's his name, Braylon Marquez, who is the Cubs version of what's the guy's name, Garrett.
Crochet.
What's his name? Yes, our guy can throw. I think he throws 100. He's a lefty. It's like 3 weeks too late calling him up, but he's here, so we'll see. I'm just happy that the Bears are 3-0. Both baseball teams are going to the playoffs. The Bulls make sweeping changes in their front office and coaching. We're not sure what's going to happen with the Hawks, but they gave us an exciting first. Well, I guess it wasn't even a playoff series, the play-in, the round robin, but things aren't terrible.
The Sox have played terrible. Right. Sox have played terrible for the last 10 days to 2 weeks. And all that being said, I think the day of rest is going to help them tomorrow. And then I think just having Giolito and Keuchel.
Are they scheduled to play Tuesday?
I believe
I haven't seen anything yet.
I think everyone plays.
Really?
Or they're maybe not everyone, but
all right, hold on, let me look. Let me check.
Everyone has Monday off. I know that.
Yeah. Everyone has Monday off, correct.
But I think with
Cubs don't play until Wednesday.
Okay, so it's probably half and half, and then they start alternating from there. But Giolito, Keuchel, 1-2. You feel good in a 3-game series, and then probably Dunning the way. Although they both got hit pretty hard this weekend, but it's just
Cubs will do that to you.
Well, they won't really.
They won't.
But they did this week.
They just did. They just did.
But they haven't really been doing that to anyone. So it was just one of those things where they did it.
Poor Scania was about to jump off a bridge himself. He was like all on the Sox train all season, and then they run into all of a sudden juggernaut Cubs, and he was granted they had lost like 6 games up, so it wasn't just against the Cubs.
Yeah,
I mean, you guys need to take it with a grain of salt.
I was more so
agreed.
upset with the way that the last 2 games in the Indian series went.
Yeah, for
than
sure.
what's happening against the Cubs, because those were
those are big
by
games.
The manager that
I mean, he's done. Ricky's got to be done.
We'll see what happens here, but the Sox they're still a year ahead of schedule too. I think.
You don't think he's done anything? He's coming back.
And there's going to be some moves this offseason. I think he's.
Pat and I were talking about it yesterday.
At least.
I think just because, like Pat said, they are ahead of schedule with this year, and players have been very vocal about how they like playing for him. I just think it gives him I don't think you can fire somebody after a relatively successful, the whole league has eyes on you as this up and coming team. Organizationally, I don't think you can fire a manager as you're
ascending
on the up and up.
Okay, that's fair.
That's just me.
What about
also? Does Jerry Reinsdorf want to be playing 2 fired coaches for his basketball and baseball team?
I do like. I mean, if Hahn has the call on,
he's firing his ass if he has the call.
Yeah, I believe in Rick Hahn.
Rick Hahn does not fuck around.
But overall, I think it's it would be a weird move. As much as Sox fans can kind of see into that, and they've seen the kind of things that Renteria has done to hinder this team, it would be hard from an outsider's perspective to kind of explain that firing. So I think he's got 1 year. If it's a full 160-game season next year, and they get off to a slow start, then maybe. But it's.
But then
tough.
why even take that chance, right? Like if you're thinking like if he doesn't get off to a good start, we're gonna can his ass. Why not just can his ass and bring in someone now?
Right, but how can you fire somebody when you're a year ahead of schedule? You're basically the poster child for the up and coming team in the
Agreed.
MLB.
And I agree with you. I guess I'm just asking, like, do you guys feel confident in him to lead you to a World Series?
No,
Okay.
No.
not at all. Especially the way the Cleveland series went.
Yeah,
Okay.
for sure. Botch
All right.
jobs.
So
So
you want him to get fired, you just don't think he's going to.
Yes.
Right.
Okay, got it.
Agreed.
I think he will. If you guys are ahead of schedule, didn't they get rid? I mean, if you're a year ahead of schedule, which it seems like you are, then you should get rid of him now because technically you would think they get rid of him next year when they're on schedule. So I think it also depends on the market and who's available. You know, they're not just going to hire anybody.
Do you have any ideas of who you'd want to manage them? Should they bring Ozzy back?
Oh, I would love if
That would be awesome.
That
Would be pretty cool if you brought Ozzy back.
Love Ozzy.
Dude,
back.
Ozzy wants the job so bad too.
He sure does.
Why wouldn't he?
Could you imagine if they? I mean, you're talking about. I mean, you're already going to fill your seats next year. But if you bring Ozzy back in and you inject that energy back into the Sox crowd,
I would love it.
That would be and Ozzy seems that he has evolved in his thinking in terms of how to manage a game. He's not going to do small ball with the team. He's not going to have a guy get on, bunt him over, get a hit.
He's been pretty critical about them too. Like,
agreed. Yeah. Agreed.
Yeah.
Well, he was always critical about himself. He wasn't like passive. Like he wasn't.
Sure.
He wasn't not aware of his faults. He was just also a stubborn prick, which is what I love about him. So I think they should definitely bring him back.
I also think in baseball, and I think this is a pretty common thought amongst sports fans, but I do think that a manager in baseball has the least
amount of impact of any. Agreed. He's good for what, 1, maybe 2 wins. Maybe.
Yeah.
But now we're seeing that those two losses.
That's what I was just going to say. I think a bad manager really
can lose you more games than yes.
But I don't think like an uber good manager is like a 20 win manager or something like that.
Saw with the Cubs,
Agreed.
like Joe Madden was great for the Cubs culture, but his managing was garbage in 2016. Right. Like they won in spite of Joe Madden's managing.
Joe Madden was the perfect manager at that time for that. I mean, that was basically lightning in a bottle. He was the perfect manager for that team. And then, I mean, we're still living in the golden age of Cubs baseball, right? We're in the playoffs for the 5th time in 3 years, and we've won the Central for the 5th time
in 3 years.
What?
Sorry.
What kind
3rd
of math
time.
is that?
What are we talking about?
Typical Cubs fan stat right there.
3rd time.
Yeah, we made the playoffs 5
years.
times the last 3 years.
All right, your team's getting blown out by my Cubs right now, so you talk all the shit you want
You know
to,
what?
and I'll watch Billy Hamilton steal home and hit a home run against your bum-ass pitching. So how about that?
That is actually hilarious.
How about that?
Who finished with a better record this year?
Who won our division?
Yeah, who
we would have won your division. We would have
You trashed him for winning it.
You would have, but you don't play in it.
Your division, okay?
You're still calling the Twins daddy.
You could never handle the NL, man.
Yeah, we won like 19 games against the Pirates this year.
Never.
It's like half of our wins, basically.
Dude, the Pirates suck so
we
bad.
need to move on because we got some stuff to get to.
Oh boy,
We're running a little long, but whatever.
Got some
I don't have
stuff.
anything to do.
It's been a while. We haven't been here together.
Talking of great franchises,
Oh boy, where's this going?
Sticky Bandits.
Oh yeah.
They made they had an interesting game this past week. As Jimmy mentioned, we've been talking about it to each other in the days since because it was so phenomenal and it was so rewarding and uplifting and every part about it was amazing except for the first 5 innings. But the 6th inning
sucked.
The 6th inning was magical.
We were basically we were the Bears of the 4th quarter as the Sticky Bandits in the 6th inning. It was amazing.
So I had wondered what it would have sounded like had Jim Ross announce our 6th inning comeback. So, gentlemen.
There's his throat.
Well, it's pre-recorded because my throat was
Okay,
destroyed.
good.
If you guys will mute your microphones, I'm going to go
Yes,
ahead and
sir.
play some audio. Artist recreation. Jim Ross calls the Sticky Bandits 6th inning comeback versus Living the Dream on Tuesday, September 22nd, 2020. Working title.
The Bandits trail 15-11 here in the 6th with their last chance to bat. Leading off for the Bandits is their number 3 hitter, Chris Fisher. I tell you what, this sumbitch, one of the best outfielders you've ever seen, was played like absolute trash today out there. For his standards, he hits the hard line to left center, right to the guy. Fish could take a lesson there on how to field the ball. Next up for the Bandits is Dan Judd. 1 out here. He's looking to bounce back after his first career strikeout in embarrassing fashion earlier in the game. Going to take about 10 home runs for people to forget about that one. He smokes a rocket shot down the third baseline. I think I actually saw the third baseman assume the fetal position on contact. Wanted nothing to do with that ball. Left fielder misplayed it like a moron, and Judd legs out a 1-out triple. Mercy. That brings up big-hitting Nick Lee to the plate. The only thing stronger than his swing is that spicy lettuce flowing off his dome. He'll look to lessen the deficit with a big hit here. Crushes the missile to right center field. Scores the run from third and cuts the lead to 15-12. Next up for the Bandits, Sloan. One could only wonder how good this man could be if he actually tried. Still, better than most people while only giving 60% effort on a good day. His last 3 at-bats, he sliced the ball to the exact same spot in right field. Will Living the Dream have any field sense here and shift accordingly? Nope. Sloan slices it to right for the 4th straight at-bat. Lee hustles around the base to score from first. Hair flowing beautifully in the wind, bringing the score to 15-13. The Bandits have cut the deficit to 2. Next up, we have shortstop and current batting head case Pat Riley, hell-bent on adding more power to his game. Riley's adjustments have led to a 95% ground ball to second base rate. Maybe he should stop being an asshole and swing to his strengths. Or don't swing at all, as he draws the rare walk in 12-inch softball. Didn't even lift the bat off his shoulder. What a pussy. First and second, 1 out for second baseman Anthony Vallone, a.k.a. Tony Two Baggers. As it currently stands, Vallone is set to lead the league in fuck screamed for the 5th consecutive season. On a historic pace, he's already dropped a staggering 23 fucks through 3 games. And a lazy fly ball to the left fielder leads to fuck number 24, 2 outs, and the Bandits are down to their final out of the ball game. That brings up right center fielder Dave Dorr. Dorr is the epitome of hustle and grit, as he's never found a surface he's afraid to slide on and cut his leg to shit.
We got some big runs out here. Do you think
They've had 4 White Claws in the parking lot before the game and has a history for showing up drunk in big moments, or showing up big in drunk moments, depending on how you want to look at it. Got a fly ball to left center field. Outfielders giving chase. Feels for the wall, and it's gone. The Bandits have taken the lead. The Bandits have taken the lead on a 3-run homer by Dave Dorr with 2 outs in the last inning. Lord God in heaven, that ball is smoked. 16-15. The Bandits have made a miraculous comeback here in the 6th inning. Still not over yet, as pitcher Andy Pedersen steps up to the plate. Huge night for the Candy Man, as he's 3 for 3 at the plate and pitching his ass off out there. Unfortunately, the defense behind him has been, in one word, trash. Pedersen hits a slow roller to third. Oh boy, you really got all that one. He's busting his ass down the line, though. It's going to be a close one. Safe! Safe! He legs out the infield single to keep the inning alive. And we've got the top of the order coming up to try to add to this lead. Next up, we got leadoff hitter Sean Connell. He missed the early part of the season with a flesh Dorito on his leg due to sliding on some bacteria-infested field turf. Shout out to the Elmhurst Park District for their always great work. His presence has been felt since his return, but he has also played a big part in the assholery from the outfielders today. They'll look to keep this inning alive to let the big dogs eat. And that's a line drive single over the shortstop's head. Something tells me Pat would have made that play. Next up, we have team captain Jimmy Riley, who has never seen a pitch he didn't like. He's seen 24 pitches and 24 bats and wouldn't have it any other way. Comes up in a big spot here with the Bandits having taken a 16-15 lead here in this wild 6th inning. He crushes one deep to left center field. The outfielder's back to the wall. Go! Another 3-run homer by the Bandits to blow the game wide open. 19-15 with the heart of the order coming up. Woo! Fish up for the second time this inning. He flew out in his last at bat, hoping to keep the inning alive here. He hits a frozen rope to left center, and that's going to find the gap. And we got extra bases, ladies and gentlemen. Fisher hustles a second for a 2-out double, and that's going to bring up the cleanup hitter, Dan Judd, to the plate. The notorious home run hitter is in the middle of a 2-game homerless streak, and it makes you wonder, what the hell are these guys paying him for? He gets a meatball, and he hits it harder than piss. That one got out of left field in a hurry, and the Bandits are laying it on thick. Mercy. That's going to bring Nick Lee back up to the dish for the second time this inning. Rocket single his last at bat, looking to keep the massive 6th inning alive for the Bandits. Oh, and he smokes this one to right center field. By God, stop the damn game. This team has families, and the Bandits are murdering them in public. Back-to-back jacks, and the Bandits score their 11th run of the inning to make it 22-15. By golly, I've never seen anything like it. I damn near pissed my pants.
That was phenomenal.
Woo!
Thank you.
That was
That was very
captivated.
well done, JR.
So,
Captivating.
Way.
What did you
Luckily-
use as the background?
There's this website that one of my teachers actually gave us his login information to just to use that has like sounds and music that's not copyrighted, so you can just download from there. But I just found like stadium ambiance noises. And then
It's
like,
crazy. I could have sworn I heard Jimmy in the background.
No, Jimmy. So,
Oh, you sure did.
so Jimmy's.
Oh.
I had Jimmy send me some clips of
There we go.
him saying some like pump up phrases and stuff too. So
Love that.
worked it in there. So yeah,
That was awesome.
That was amazing.
Very
Yeah.
well done.
my voice was there was. I'll,
That
I'll-
afterwards?
You
I'll-
could tell towards the end you were.
Oh yeah, I
Yeah,
was
you're getting
losing
pretty
it.
high pitched.
I was losing it. I'll send you guys. I videoed myself doing it too. I'll send you guys the video.
Nice.
There's one point where I say something and I'm just like, and I'm just like coughing right into the camera. It's so.
Did you go full JR with the hat glasses and stroke face?
I did have a cowboy hat on.
10 gallon or
Nah, it's just that it's the Bandit hat, which perfect segue.
That's how it's done here in the biz.
woo!
Jimmy and I saw Tenet this past weekend, and then I received a strange message in our DMs that I was alerted that the Bandit had also seen Tenet this weekend, and it was weird because I thought Jimmy was the Bandit, but then I received this strange voicemail that would indicate that maybe Jimmy isn't the Bandit after all. So we have a movie review for Tenet. And gentlemen, this is going to be another a slightly lengthy listen, but definitely worth it. And
Are there spoilers?
I don't think there was spoilers. There was definitely not spoilers, just soft plot like point.
That's the.
Do you even know what you're spoiling?
Okay, no, it cannot be spoiled. I'm telling you.
All right.
There's no like.
I got you.
Jimmy giving away. No, not Jimmy. Sorry, Jimmy's gonna have his.
The Bandit.
The Bandit. It was the Bandit. I think his name is Timmy, so that's what I meant. Timmy. Timmy Smiley. All right. Here's this voicemail that we received on our line. It was very unexpected.
Hey bros, Bandit here. Glad to be talking with you today. Pat, your fearless leader, asked me to call in and review the movie Tenet, that I saw this here past weekend, so I wanted to do that for you. Quick overview, Tenet is about time-traveling bombs. Well, not time-traveling bombs, time travel and bombs. I don't want to dive too much into the storyline beyond that because I'm not trying to ruin it for anybody in case you hadn't seen the movie yet. Of all the Chris Nolan movies I've seen, which is about 6, this one was probably the most confusing. Now, granted, the other 3 or 5, were 3 of them were the Batman movies, which weren't too terribly confusing. I saw half of Prestige, so I can't really comment on that one too much. And this one made Inception look about as easy to understand as it is to wrangle a calf, which, if you're the Bandits, not too difficult. So, I was so confused by the time I got home, I had to read one of those synopses to help fill in the gaps of what I was missing in that there movie. But I was really impressed. To show you just how impressed I was, that Jimmy fella, gosh, I love him. He's got to be one of my favorite bros. He has that movie rating system, that foolproof movie rating system that I love so much that I've since adopted myself to rate movies. So I'm going to go off of that to rate Tenet. So let's start with the acting. We see John David Washington, Denzel's son, Bauer's own John David Washington, JDW. Bob Pattinson, your new Batman coming up. There's a cameo by a special actor, which if you've seen any of the Chris Nolan movies, you probably know who I'm talking about. I'm not going to ruin it for you. I'm not going to say who it is, but if you go back and watch some of the Chris Nolan movies, you'll know exactly who I'm talking about. There's an angry Russian man. There's a tall, sad blonde lady. There's a little kid who you don't see much of. And then there's that fella from Godzilla who real easy on the eyes. I can't think of his name right now, but that's basically your main cast of the movie. The acting I would categorize at a 1.75. I would categorize it as very good. So we're going to mark that in there as 1.75. Now, I'm not sure how that bro Jimmy distinguishes where those numbers come from, but I'm going to go with 1.75. Okay. The writing. Typically, Chris Nolan movies are really well written, and this movie is no exception. Okay, it's confusing at times. I think there are times where it's confusing on purpose, so you're maybe not meant to quite understand what's going on, as demonstrated by some of the muffled talking, like as we saw in Batman with Bane, and I think that's done on purpose for us to have a difficult time understanding exactly what's going on. But the writing was really good. The story in the beginning was super easy to follow. Not super easy, but if you're paying any kind of attention, you'll be able to follow the story. So I'm going to give a rating also a 1.75, just because there are times when the movie gets confusing, and even though it's probably done on purpose, the Bandit doesn't like that. So I'm going to go 1.75 on the rating, which is also very good. Character development. This is where I think the movie succeeded the most, because we saw, and I don't want to give too much away, so I'm not going to expand on this too much, but we saw characters come full circle. We understood why they were doing what they were doing, which seems to be a theme in movies a lot lately. I can't give away too much more than that, but the character development, I'm going to give a 1.85 to it. It was excellent, in my opinion. So I'm going to add 1.85 to that score. Keeping track of this, I'm out here handing in the smartphone so I can get an accurate rating for all of you. The plot. The plot was very good. Again, in the beginning, the plot was fairly simple to follow. As it got towards the middle and the end, it got a little bit more difficult. There was a nice break there in between where you're watching just some mindless things happen. You still have to pay attention, but you don't have to be hyper-focused like you normally do in a Chris Nolan movie. So I'm going to give the plot a 1.8, just on the high end of very good and just below excellent. I think it fell right between there, so I'm happy at a 1.8 with that. So 1.8 for the plot. The entertainment, it was a very entertaining movie. I was very, very happy with the effects. If you've seen the previews and trailers, I'm not going to give anything away by saying this, but things look like they're moving in reverse order, which is consistent throughout the movie. They explain all of that. The ending of the movie did get a little confusing, which again, I think was done on purpose. I am going to give the entertainment reading a 1.80. I thought it was very entertaining. I had the pleasure of seeing this here movie in IMAX because the theaters are just starting to reopen, so I got a ticket for $11. They had the Dolby Digital sound pumping. I could feel the bass all the way in my plums, in my chest. I was literally on the edge of my seat watching some scenes. It made the movie very entertaining. So at a 1.80, when I add that to my previous scores, we get an 8.95. Now, there are 5 categories in which we rate. So we will take that 8.95 and we will divide it by 5, bringing us a total of 1.79. Now, if you go back and look at that their foolproof movie rating system, a 1.79 falls in the very good category. In fact, the upper echelon of the very good category, just below excellent. And I think personally, that's exactly where the movie fell. Extremely good, just short of excellent. I hope y'all enjoyed my Bandit review of Tenet. I hope to be doing a lot more of these, getting a lot more phone calls and dropping in on this here voicemail. Leave you this movie review on Tenet from the Bandit. Also want to congratulate y'all on your comeback victory on Tuesday. The Sticky Bandits. I'm so glad that you used my namesake as your mascot for your team. But congrats on the big win. If you didn't talk about it today, I hope you all do, because it was run for the records. All right. This has been the Baja Bandit, leaving his movie review for Tenet. Like always, he did leave his calling card in the movie theater, hashtag Baja Bandit. So go ahead onto their social media, type in their hashtag Baja Bandit, and see if anyone found it and hashtagged it online. Have a great day, gents. I will talk with you all soon.
Well, that was just phenomenal.
What a guy.
Next
What a guy.
level. We are so blessed
What a guy.
that this anonymous human being chose our show as the engine that drives his amazing movie reviews.
We really are. And I'm personally honored that he loves my movie rating system as much as I do. What a guy.
Well, that
What a
makes
guy.
one person that understands.
That makes one person that understands it.
I'm going to put this in words he can understand. Baja Bandit, you are one excellent feller.
I agree.
Johnny, I can say with confidence, I think he'll appreciate that.
You know what? I can echo a lot of those sentiments of what he said. I think it was a pretty even review, pretty solid review, pretty spot on. I thought it was a really good movie and very confusing at times, but when you kind of understand, as a lot of Christopher Nolan movies are, but as it gets towards the middle and the end and things start to become, you start piecing things together and realizing what happened. It has multiple of those moments where you're like, oh shit. Yeah. So in that aspect, and I was telling Jimmy too, for me, having just finished up school and like to an obviously way lesser degree, but having done like a short film and been on that side of the camera and seeing even what it takes to make a 6-minute movie, I just like have such a greater
newfound appreciation
for what Christopher Nolan does, because he really is one of the best at it. And just the way that he chooses to use real effects as opposed to CGI, and just the way, I mean, there's so many things that stand out about the way that he makes films, and that adds so much to the experience. And just the creative writing too. It's just using all these, kind of not shying away from maybe making things confusing and worrying about isolating a particular audience because they can't understand your movies.
So Lena's cousin went to go see it and made a comment that he thought that the sound editing for conversations
was bad.
Yes.
Yes, there were
and
certain times
made it hard to understand what people were saying that sort of explained what was going on.
See, but that was the one thing about this movie is in like Inception and Interstellar, at some point it's explained.
Right.
Like this movie, I don't think those parts were directly explaining what was happening. Like the plot of what they're trying to do is never directly mentioned because it's supposed to remain ambiguous like that. But like Inception, it's confusing as hell, but you know that they're trying to implant this idea.
Right.
But I do agree that the sound editing was bad in certain points to where conversations were muffled, and it's one of those movies where I really enjoyed it. I thought about it a lot the night after I got back and into the next morning.
Mm-hmm.
I will enjoy it more on my. Well, I won't enjoy it more because the IMAX just made it next level. IMAX is the best. You have to go on IMAX, but I will enjoy it more watching it with subtitles. To catch more of what's
that's exactly what he said.
Yeah.
Yes. Pat and I were also privy to Travis Scott's new music video dropping before
franchise,
and
it was debuted in IMAX. That was
an experience. So let me tell you, Pat and I were like, "Wow, this is great," and then Pat and I were like, "What the fuck is happening? This is insane.
As the movie
what
starts, they go through all the previews and basically it was before the previews. It was right after they did all the pre-show stuff that they show on the screen. And then they do like the little IMAX preview letting you know it's about to start.
Right.
And then all of a sudden you just see it's just black screen. They just show the Cactus Jack logo. And I'm thinking it's a McDonald's commercial right out the bat, just hitting us hard with McDonald's. And then all of a sudden
me too.
Those speakers are just like destroying us. And the beginning of the video is sick. It starts out with a pull from The Last Dance, and it's when Jordan's pulling out of his mansion with Ahmad Rashad in his Range Rover. He's smoking the cigar. And then the music video is actually filmed at Jordan's mansion.
That's sick.
That's
pretty cool.
But MIA is in that song of Paper Planes fame, and she's got this weird ass flower outfit on.
Oh, that was her? I had no idea who that was.
She's dancing like in the midst of a flock of sheep around her. It gets really weird, but it was. I've never enjoyed watching a music video more than with that on the IMAX. Though it was amazing. But the movie was good too. The movie was really good. Okay.
Yeah, I want to see Tenet really bad. Christopher Nolan movies, like the best part is when they're confusing because it's like a 50-50 chance that it's going to be a very confusing movie. But the rewatchability of Christopher Nolan movies is next to none. So
Seriously.
I have to watch it a couple times. I'm okay with that.
One of my biggest takeaways actually is that Robert Pattinson is going to be great, Bruce Wayne.
Really? Nice.
He's got the fucking chin. He's got the chin.
He's in a suit for probably 85% of this movie and just looks
most of the movie.
The rich, sophisticated part. And I thought like I like John David Washington. I didn't think he was good in the beginning, but as the movie got on, I thought he gave a pretty strong performance actually. But I thought Pattinson was probably the best performance in the movie.
That's encouraging.
Easily. Yeah,
Yeah.
I agree.
And then the tall, sad blonde lady was also good. Her name's Elizabeth Debicki. But
She was good.
okay, we'll cut the mock draft for this week because we ran pretty long with those pre-recorded sags. But it felt good to get the gang back together.
Sure did.
Hopefully we can get a few more in here before Sean says farewell and goes off to Germany.
Auf Wiedersehen.
And a few thereafter.
Yeah.
Or as they say in Germany, au revoir.
Schnitzel. Right? Okay.
One of those is French and one of those is clearly English. Oh, he said schnitzel.
French.
Never mind. That's true.
Schnitzel
Au
is
revoir
French.
is French, right?
Yes.
Okay,
Revoir
good,
is
good.
French.
1 for 2.
All right. We appreciate you guys listening, though. We're going to be getting back to regularly scheduled episodes. So stay tuned for that. If you don't follow us already, check us out on social media, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, at Bros Let's Talk. You can find our podcast on Spotify, Apple, and pretty much anywhere else podcasts are found. Our website is brosletstalk.com, and our podcast lives at anchor.fm/Bros Let's Talk. For Jimmy, Sean, and Andy, this is Pat. Later, dudes. Enjoy your evenings.
See ya, fellers.
Later.